right. Thanks for joining us here on Her Story for Slice Radio. Uh, Today we're with Hachiku frontwoman Anika. Thanks for joining us, Anika.
Thanks for inviting me onto the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. I listen to your tunes and I could not have you. They're beautiful.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Um, and now, Anika, I know you hate this question as you get asked it a lot, but I thought do it first, then it's out of the way and it'll give
Hit
us
me.
some context too. So, could you tell us a bit about where you're from?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't I don't hate that question, but good reference of song lyrics, very well informed. Um, I am from Germany, but originally, like I was born in America, but grew up in Germany, so I'd probably say I'm German, yeah. And have been living in Melbourne on Wurundjeri country for the last 6 years this year, actually. Yeah, quite a long time.
Uh-huh. And yeah, so do your I guess your adventures during your childhood, you're saying you lived in these multiple countries. And then so does that add to sort of your background, your music and your overall vision?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was born in America and then lived in the UK as a very, very small child. Um, and then probably spent the majority in Germany. But I think having had that story told by your parents of like, yeah, when we lived in America and when we lived in like the UK, I think my whole life I was kind of like fascinated by the idea of like going back to those places or like just yeah the possibility of not being in Germany for the rest of my life. Which then yeah I did go and study in the UK and lived in America and did like a road trip a little bit. Um, where I think yeah just that general mindset of the world is bigger than your immediate surroundings. I think definitely shapes everything you do a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. So well, there's no set description of your sound, and I guess that's a great thing. But how do you explain it?
Oh God. All the questions that I
Yeah,
find.
hard ones. Put them out.
Um, how do I explain it? I usually get people to ask my girlfriend and be like, go ask her or go ask my parents or something. I don't know. It's like I play guitar, I sing. I guess it's like my I like dream pop, the description of it, but what does it say in our press release? Like indie rock with a bedroom appeal, like mixed with dream pop influences and like I don't know, rickety drum machines. Someone once wrote. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult if something's rickety. But yeah, I like lots of layered music, lots of Casio keyboards, organs, ethereal reverb. Yep,
Mhm. Ethereal and dreamy.
sure.
That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good summary.
And when you talk about studying in the UK, you I'll let you tell the story, but you came to Melbourne
Hmm.
and you somehow got connection with Milk Records and Jen Clower, the amazing lady. So can you tell us that story and how music became the thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of a dream more than anything. Like having come from Germany and quite a conservative, like mindset of people like all my German high school friends are like I don't even know what they do now, teachers, and someone's a doctor, someone works in a watch company in marketing, but it was not very artistic, more than just like a hobby. But I always had this bigger dream of surely someone in the world somewhere is like doing this as a thing that's more than just laughed about. So yeah, when I went on exchange in Melbourne, I pretty quickly discovered Merc Records and what they stand for and what the whole like that sort of indie music scene in Melbourne stands for. And I was like, I just felt like having found my people or something in a
Mm-hmm.
lame way, but yeah, just that mindset of you don't have to make music as like it can be more than just your hobby, but it's also you don't have to be like a concert pianist or be like classically trained. Like it can be your passion and it can be a worthwhile thing to pursue regardless. And that whole idea of you can have a day job and it doesn't matter that that's not related to because you're an artist and you live for your art. That sort of thing, like it had never crossed my mind. And then suddenly, yeah, all these things that probably like people that grew up here is kind of like normal maybe. Yeah, I was quite fascinated by it. So I started interning at Merc Records first and now started working there and then releasing my music. So it's been quite a, yeah, good, fun part of my life.
Great. And yeah, as you say, you started releasing your music. So your debut.
Mm-hmm.
Let's chat about this. I know it's a while ago, but maybe not to you. But
COVID
you know
times,
how
everything.
this music world, you're supposed to spit something out every 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm working on it, don't worry.
Yeah, so it's called You'll Probably Be Asleep. And it was released in November 2020.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I guess you're super proud of that. But um, what was it? Yeah, what was it like releasing in like peak COVID?
It's funny because I feel like at that stage, Melbourne had just come out of lockdown and everyone was sort of in the mindset of like, ah, this is over, great. So now, with like the benefit of hindsight, I'm like, oh, it was only the beginning, wasn't it? But um, yeah, I mean, I am really proud of it. Parts of me is like, oh, what could have been if maybe it was a different time to release it. But I think everyone is in that same boat where you're a little bit like the opportunities and possibilities you could have had. You have to like reframe them and find other
Mm-hmm.
like milestones or things that you're happy with. And I'm really happy with it for the time we released it and what came out of it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it could have gone a better way during a pandemic. We still managed to do like a small run of shows and we'll just have to release a new record before we can do another tour. But yeah, it's been good.
Oh, great. Great. Yeah, so what was it like living through the world's longest pandemic in Melbourne, especially as an
Uh,
artist too?
yeah, good question. I feel like I'm still probably processing the extent of it, isn't it? Like I'm always like, oh, 15 years and I'm gonna look back on this and be like, wow, what a time. Where like I'm trying to live in the moment, but I'm also trying to not get too like sucked in to it and just be like it's temporary and it will just at some point get better again. But I mean, I've been actually probably in the last 2 years have really tried to focus on just learning and expanding my like skill set and
Okay.
lots of like being such like a late comer to music in a way, and being self-managed and always having to like book your own shows and do everything a little bit here and there. I feel like sometimes the actual music making, you feel like you never quite get to a stage of other musicians that maybe have been like full-time doing it for so long, that I'm quite happy that, yeah, in the last years I feel like I've just gotten a lot more competent and confident in my actual skills as a musician and producer, and like started producing other people, and like because you have to kind of let go of these ambitions of like I'm gonna go to Europe and do a tour, and then we just got a booking agent in America, I'm gonna go to America, where suddenly you're like, that's not happening, is it?
Yeah.
Like what I meant with like reframing what you feel like proud of becomes like I'm gonna like start producing this person, or like just make a song that I'm really happy with, which should come first always anyway. But yeah, I think it's been a good development period.
Oh, great. Um, as you say, you were self-managed. How's that? Like you said, is it time consuming, or do you feel
Yeah.
that what are the benefits and negatives?
Um, if anyone's listening and they want to be our manager, please get in touch. I am definitely looking. I feel like, yeah, it's been good so far. Like, I feel like the one thing is you're completely in control, so you can do whatever you want to do, and um, you have the complete freedom to be like, if there's a deadline and you don't want to do it, you just postpone the deadline type thing. Which at the same time, I think at this stage, having realized how much I just like how much time it takes, and seeing other people that have managers and how much they can like just focus on like reading a book or like something, like writing lyrics without being like, fuck, I have to write. Oh, sorry, I swore, but I
Oh,
have to.
it's totally okay.
Okay, I don't know what the rules are. I still have to
There's no rules.
okay. Like we're meant to be doing a tour in 2 weeks and we can't do it because of COVID, but I have to like message all the venues and do posts and reschedule the tour, where I'm a bit like, it would be nice to have a little bit more of a team. Yes,
Mm.
definitely.
So talking about those dates, they're the ones with soaked oats, are they?
Yeah, meant to be. They,
Oh,
yeah,
those
we're
ones
just
were for July last year.
I know. It's like third or fourth reschedule. I don't know. I was just talking to them just then, because like the border regulations have still not updated, and they'd have to like quarantine in a hotel and stuff, which was meant to have stopped around about like now or end of
Oh,
February.
yeah.
Where yeah, we're trying to see if we can still maybe do some of those shows as a solo show here or there, just so that venues aren't completely screwed over again.
Hmm.
But it's just also like going into a tour bus with, we would have been 8 people and driving across the country, like into Queensland, New South Wales. It's like such a risky endeavor for someone to like get sick on the road, and then you have to isolate a whole tour bus somewhere in the middle of nowhere or something. I don't know. It was like, yeah, it's always, I think, tough decisions to make. But because we don't have a manager or like a big team or like contingency budgets to like pay for hotels if someone needs to like quarantine, or like, I
Hmm.
mean, worst case we could just drive back to Melbourne probably over 3 days. But it's always like the financial thing of soaked oats coming into the country, paying for flights for 4 people. Like you have to set a certain amount of tickets as well.
Hmm.
Where I think people are not going to shows right now. Like it's like a risky business in a way,
Yeah.
purely from like a financial perspective. Where I think no one, like everyone, wants to do nothing more but play shows, but
Hmm.
it's still such a difficult time to actually make them work, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that's really sad.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What?
There's
Were you
nothing
gonna
we can do.
Were you gonna come to one of the shows?
Yeah, yeah. The
Oh.
Sydney one.
We might do the Sydney one without subtitles now. It kind of
Okay.
depends. We're gonna talk to the venue. They said early February if we could make a decision. Who knows? Like things might by end February, that mid February, whenever we were meant to play it. Maybe it's like 4 weeks away. Maybe things will be different then, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But you've also got some support act gigs coming up too.
Yeah, meant to be playing with the Beths in March. Haven't heard
Yeah.
back about that one yet, but I'm so at this stage it's happening, so let's just hope for the best. Yeah. Um,
Fingers crossed for you.
yeah. It's like just plan your life 1 week ahead at a time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there was some music that came out last year. So can we touch on that now? Go to a happier
Yes.
place.
Yeah, sure. Um,
So you worked with two amazing women in their own
mm-hmm.
rights, as well as yourself. Um, Stella from Wall Paint, as well as Camp Cope frontwoman Georgia Mack.
Yep.
For I guess I'd like your take on it, but I'd say they're two very different remixes of your
Mm,
songs from the debut. So, how do you feel?
I love them. It's so fun
Yes, you
when
do.
um, there's something about making music that can be so frustrating when you put that pressure on yourself where you have like you want it to be a certain way and you are responsible for getting it there, where suddenly when you like ask someone else to do a remix for you, all that pressure is just removed because you're like, whatever they come up with, all I have to do is press play and enjoy it, right? Like um and yeah, I mean, I'm like so happy to be friends with both Stella and Georgia that when I asked them, both of them were like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Georgia, I think, did her remix in 12 hours or something. I sent it to her in the morning, and by the evening, she was like, how's this? I was like, perfect, thanks. um, yeah, I mean, they both put like different drum beats to it, and I think Stella's was very 808s, like
Yeah.
synth bass and stuff, which it's fun when you can actually just put on a song that, yeah, you can just put it on and be like, I don't know, dancing to it or something, where you're like, cool, like this has my vocals in it, but nothing else, but I still get to like be associated with this piece of art or music in a way. Yeah.
Mhm. And I talked to Alice Ivy about this, but how do you look at it when Georgia did the remix and so Stella did hers? Um, who owns that
So it's sort
for
of, I mean,
you?
this is all like royalties and the agreement you come to, isn't it? Like it really depends on what you agree to with each other.
Mhm.
Where because there's like two parts to song, like to a song, which is one the songwriting credits itself, like the composition and the like lyrics and stuff, and the other is the like master, the recording side of it. Where so like with Georgia, Stella and me, it's all like 50-50, where they own 50%, I own the other 50%. Where yeah, I think that's how most people do it. Maybe I know that some people, but I don't know if that's the right way to do it. They like buy the thing off you, and because they bought it, it's almost seen like those old school deals where like record labels, if they pay for the making of the music, they own it. But I think it's most common in like the indie music world these days that you do like 50-50 deals between like labels and artists, and I
Mhm.
think if you work on something together, similar thing. That's at least how we've sort of arranged it. And then I think a lot of it is you just have to trust each other too. That like when if let's say you get a sync for it, like in a TV show or I don't know, like wherever the song might potentially make money. To be honest, most of the songs will never make any money because like Spotify is gonna pay like $3 for it. But if you make some sort of money with it, that you reach out to the remix and go like, here, by the way, are your royalties for the song. Where like I've done remixes for other people, and I almost prefer just being paid up front and then not have to worry about it ever again, because as I said, admin of being like a self-managed musician and having to like follow up with everyone that might potentially owe you 2 cents um, can be quite a hassle. But yeah, in a way, it's like don't do business with your friends, but it's good if you can trust the people you work with that you
Yeah.
they're not gonna screw you over, right? Which I'm not planning to do.
So, so you released the music as your music did. Stella also released it as her music, and Georgia the same.
Yeah, I mean that also kind of depends on how much they want to be associated with it.
Mhm.
So like, I think this one, because it's like listed, let's say on Spotify, like Georgia can be listed as like it's her release, or she's featured as an artist that has collaborated on the release.
Mhm.
Where like on Spotify it doesn't show up in your main release category, but it more shows up in the like small one at the bottom where it's like
Okay.
features on, which it's also dependent on each release, and
Mhm.
some people might have other things coming out at the same time and they might not want it to mess with their algorithm or something, which
Woohoo.
is, yeah, it's the
Getting
21st
fancy.
century consideration. Yeah, but I think primarily the person that commissioned the remix, they're like the people responsible for organizing the release and like doing the PR, and
Mhm.
um, the remixer just does their remix, and yeah. But that's at least how we did it. I mean, there's probably in a more corporate music world and other
Mhm.
scenarios, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways that people like David Guetta remixing that "All I need is your love tonight." You know that one that what's the band called that like got massive last year? Where I do wonder how David Guetta like how those remix royalties work, because they must have a different deal to this one.
Sure. Yeah. Who knows? And who cares?
Exactly.
I think your deal works really well.
Yeah, so far so good.
So I'm interested, how do you work it all out together? You said you found the indie scene in Melbourne. So is it like your Milk Records crew, or is it you just happen to tour together, or you do all drink at the same pub, or how does it work?
Um, I feel like I think it's like a general, and it probably also depends on who you're with and what circles you are in, and um, I think like I wouldn't say that even the Milk Records people, I don't see any of them regularly, but you know when you just have this underlying feeling of like belonging to something, where you're like we all have a similar vision for like what things are and what life is maybe about, in a way where
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I mean we do go like not during COVID, but usually go to gigs regularly, and when you're at the shows your friends' bands are playing, and um, they support your shows, you support their shows. Maybe you go on tour with some of them, like I've toured with both Jen and Courtney um, a little bit, and yeah, it's like just a supportive environment where you feel like you have each other's backs in a way. Um, some of that involves going to the pub together or things, but it just yeah, it feels like you're just surrounded by friends in a way, which is a nice way. to live your life, I guess. Like,
Of
I,
course.
I don't think I've ever had a job where I didn't feel like I was then friends with my colleagues, where sometimes some of my friends I talk to that work a bit more office type jobs. Like, I can't imagine hating your job because it's kind of just like a fun life.
Yeah, that's where you spend a majority of your life too.
Yeah, definitely.
You just got to, well, that's how I think about it if I'm looking at a job.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so you're saying let's sort of give people a so you, just to backtrack a little, you work at Milk Records as well?
Yeah, that's right. I actually, with my girlfriend together as of last July, um, we're now also managing the label in a way where the current label manager, like, he got a new job at Sound Merch, it's called. And we were like, first, like, with Courtney, like, thinking, should we hire someone new or what's the best way to go about it? But we were like, let's take our time. So, yeah, working there,
Mhm.
like, managing the releases right now and the online store and a little bit of everything.
Mhm. So, just to make it clear, it's Courtney Barnett,
Yeah, that's right.
and she's released Things Take Time recently. That must have been huge
Yeah,
because
that was a big month, definitely. I was like, because we also like, yeah, like organizing the whole mail out of like all the pre-orders and mystery boxes and deluxe boxes, and especially during COVID, like supply chains are so unpredictable. Where you have the vinyl, but you don't have the hoodies, and you have the t-shirts, but the pencil cases for the mystery boxes haven't arrived. Where yeah, it was a logistical challenge, but we
challenge.
got there. I was glad when Christmas came around.
You got a break.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so finally we get um maybe come March or after any soaked oats dates you get to do, or dates with soaked oats, yeah, your dates. um, we be writing again or heading into the studio to record.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, most of the stuff I do, I can luckily do from home because it's all like Ableton laptop type work. But I do work best, I think, when I can really just dedicate a long time period to just focus on that. Um, where ideally, like the last album, I wrote a lot of it in Germany at my parents' place, where I could really just focus and not worry about needing to do a Courtney Barnett mail out or something. um, so yeah, I think if we can't do this tour now, I'm trying to just really take that time and schedule in some writing time or yeah.
Book reading.
Exactly. All the things where you find inspirations to reflect on your life and write something wise, right?
Mm-hmm. And will we be having the same sort of sound, the ethereal?
Yeah, I was talking to my father the other day, and I don't think he meant it rudely, but he sort of was like, "You can't be writing on Casio keyboards forever, can you? Your next album will sound just like your first one." I was like, "Okay, I'll get a new keyboard, I guess." Um, no, but I do think I think it's still gonna be quite playful in a way. To be honest, I'm really like fascinated by pop music these days and how like catchy, happy songs. For some reason, during the last since I started writing this, because everything's been so dull and a bit like, like not much excitement.
Mm.
Uh, the music I have recently been making has been very where I just listen to it and I'm like, yeah, this is fun. um, because it needs some sort of enjoyment, and if no one gives it to you, why not provide it yourself? So yeah, for some reason it's been quite like a happy music making
That's
process. But now I'm at
fantastic.
the frustrating point now where I have to I would still want them to be taken seriously, right? So you have to like think about that, like how to do that. So yeah, no, I think it will definitely be a bit different, but still sound like Hachiku stuff.
Ah, looking forward to it. Hopefully
Yeah.
on those dates, if you get to any of them, you might be able to share some of the new ones too.
Yeah, we've practiced one before Christmas, and maybe as a good deadline, I'll try and finish one more for our next rehearsals. We are rehearsing, so we're hoping some things will go ahead. So yeah, we'll play you one.
Good. Yeah, fingers crossed. Be like, don't be reckless, I'd imagine, but be be positive. I think that's the only thing that we can do.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not gonna get through it. I mean, yeah, I'm still buying concert tickets and everything. And they
That's
keep getting they keep getting put back and yeah,
what do they
but
say? Hope dies last or something, isn't that the
yeah,
saying?
yeah, we'll bring it back.
Yeah,
Anika, you and I. That could be the name of the next album.
bringing it back.
No, Hope Dies Last.
Oh, hope das last. Yeah, is that a saying in
I
German? You
think
say
it's great.
die Hoffnung stirbt zuletzt, where it's like everything dies, but your hope doesn't. But then maybe that dies too, and then it's really bad. But so far, I'm still like resilient, right? Keep rebooking, keep reorienting, and
Mm.
one day things will align with the plan.
You musicians are so good at resilience and working with changes and
Yeah, it's
well
probably maybe it's the mindset of having to be so like with money and stuff as well. You're like, oh, this week I didn't make any money, so maybe where do I find this? Like I feel like your whole life sometimes you're very like, maybe I have to try that. Maybe I have to try that. Maybe I should try that. Like you're constantly someone like didn't quite remember the reference, but something about like making music is a very similar mindset to gambling, where you're like you just have to keep
mm,
trying and betting, and in a way it's addictive in a not so like healthy way maybe. But you're like maybe my next song will like get me to that stage, or maybe this next song, or maybe yeah, you just keep doing it. You can't just not do it, right? Maybe.
mhm. And hopefully it's better for you than gambling. Um,
Yes, I
not a
hope so.
fan. I think, yeah, if it's sort of making money, I don't know. Not a fan of them, sorry.
No, me neither. I think they were more talking about how mental health wise music making
Mm-hmm.
can be really like destructive for
Mm.
lots of people, because yeah, it can be quite a disheartening process. You can imagine sometimes when you're like you put a lot of work into what you do, and then suddenly you're like, ah, why did I do that? Like no one cares. Or um,
It
like
flopped.
yeah, or even just things like, oh, this never sounds like what I imagine it to sound like. Like you're always chasing something, but you're never quite getting there, because that's why you create and do things, right? Like I'd like to meet the person that like finishes an album and then goes like, ah, this was my final album I've ever made. I can't do it better. I feel like I don't know. There might be people out there, but most people I know, they're like, whew, glad this is out of the way now. I can like move on to the next thing. Like, you're chasing your own tail. But maybe some people have a really wholesome and healthy relationship with music making and creative output, but most people, I think, are quite self-critical.
Of course. I think that comes with the field.
Yeah.
Like you're always analyzing yourself too when you're a lyricist.
That's true, yeah. You have to constantly think about what it is you're trying to say, isn't it? It must be relaxing if you're not trying to um, do that. But everyone, I feel like, whether they make something out of it or not, everyone thinks their parts and has their feelings, right?
Mm. So sad. But there's hope. There's hope. There's still
Yeah,
hope.
exactly.
So we've got some new tracks coming up potentially, and oh well, they are. They're being worked on and rehearsed. Maybe on the road. Is there anything else, Anika, that you'd like to even spruik or mention
Hmm.
as we're chatting?
Right now, it's probably still a little while off, but Jen Clover's new record, helping out with some production on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that to be finished, and I think she has a great, like, it's gonna be great, yeah. Great lyrics, great, just, she has a lot to say. So
She's a
I'm excited
woman.
for that
Yeah.
to see the light of day, maybe later this year, maybe early next year, I think. No rush with anything, is there? So, but when that does happen, it's worth a listen, I think. Um, and
Can't wait
yeah,
to hear it. It'll be good.
that's about it at this stage.
Oh,
Still need to gonna get some vinyl made, the 7-inch for the both the Stella and Georgia remixes. Got some test pressings. I picked them up today, so I need to listen to them and then approve the vinyl production. That's what's happening in the next little bit.
great. So we'll have a release, some possibly new music, and hopefully on the stage.
Exactly. Yep. That's my whole life plan summarized.
All right. So I'm just going to hit you up with one last question, Anika. And well, I guess not, or any of these questions don't have any notice, but without any notice, what would be a song you'd like to hear on Her Story podcast?
Ooh. Any song by anyone?
Any song by anyone.
Oh, one of my favorite songs, which is so annoying, but I do like it, um, is that La Rue song. But what's it called? Been there, done that, messed around, I'm having fun, don't pull me down, never. Bulletproof, that one.
Great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's like the perfect pop music. So yeah, play that one.
Awesome. We will. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Anika. We look forward to seeing Hachiku on the road and new music. So yeah,
Thank you for
all the
talking to
best.
me. Thank you. I
No
will see you
worries.
maybe in Sydney.
Yeah.